back to Sportsnet Lakers. I'm your host, Chris McGee. Joining me today, it's our Laker Insider. Down at the end there, it's Mike Bresnahan. And from NBA.com, Mark Medina. All-Star Weekend is officially over because we are working. I'm going to say you travel a lot. You decided to kind of have a little downtime. Is that true?
I did. I mean, I've been all over the place.
Yeah.
So I did something that's more entertaining than this year's All-Star game. Doing nothing.
You did nothing. You and the fiance just chilling?
Just chilled. Yeah, we were doing some Netflix.
All right, fun.
Yeah, I did watch the NBA All-Star game, but the nothing was more entertaining.
Nothing was more entertaining. I'm going to bet you drank wine because you were on your way to Paso Robles.
But I ended up going there three nights, lovely stay, and brought back some wine that we started drinking about an hour ago. I'm kidding.
I got excited. I was like, wait.
Good to be back, though, guys.
Good to be back.
23 games left.
Yeah, let's get going. Games are coming here in 24 hours. LeBron James was one of the captains for the All-Star game, his sixth in a row. Coming into the game, LBJ was a perfect 5-0 as GM, but that came to an end in Utah. LeBron had 13 points in the loss to Team Giannis. Even though the backdrop was an All-Star game, LeBron's main focus was the Lakers' race to the finish line in the final half of the season.
23 of the most important games of my career for a regular season. And type of mindset that I have, and I hope the guys will have coming back off the break.
For this year, definitely, I think each game, is a must-win game for us, given the situation that we're in. So they're all pretty important, and we got to treat each game that way. Look at it as like I say, a Game 7 game. And we go out to compete and on both ends of the floor do what we're supposed to do. Give ourselves a pretty good chance.
Now, LeBron also had this to say: I want to make a push to make the playoffs. I don't want to see myself not being part of the postseason for 2 years straight. It's just not part of my DNA. We're sitting up here talking about the scoring record and things of that nature, and that's all cool. But I'm more passionate about trying to make the postseason and give ourselves a chance to compete for another Larry O'Brien trophy. That's just who I am. That's what I'm cut from. That's LeBron James. Brez, I'm going to start with you. There's 23 games left. The expectation is LeBron is going to play in every single one that he can. He talked a lot about the importance. He knows what's on the line, but here's the reality. The clock is ticking. And if they're going to make a run, LeBron and AD have to be available.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, if one of those guys even misses a week, it could be deadly for this team because they need all those guys, especially those two guys, to play every single game that's left. AD, I thought he set the tone today verbally at practice afterwards. He said, hey, every game from now on is a must win, which is kind of crazy since we're still in February. But that's the state of the Lakers ever since they started out 2-10. Some bad lineups, some bad chemistry issues, I should say. Now, I like everything they did leading up to the trade deadline. It's going to be a great story followed by a lot of national reporters. Can the Lakers dig themselves out of this hole? 5 games under 500 at this point with 23 to go. I think they need to go at least, let's call it 16-7, just to make sure that they can get to that play-in tournament at the very least, even though Darvin Ham has higher expectations than that. He wants a top 6 finish for the Lakers.
Yeah, maybe even go 23 now. That's probably unrealistic.
That's not too crazy, Mark.
I'm with Perez. It's got to be at least 16-7, maybe better. And here's the thing. To your question about being healthy, I'm optimistic on LeBron James's. And, hey, he cut All-Star weekend early because of the finger, but Darvin Ham said it's fine. The last game against New Orleans, he played under 30 minutes for the first time all season. That's partly because of the improved roster after the trade deadline. So I think those things can be sustainable moving forward. The other part of the unknown, though, is Anthony Davis. Can he stay durable? The All-Star weekend helped him. As far as we know, he's fully physically healthy. But as you guys know, you just never know how long that can last throughout the course of a season. And so while everything is 100% now, you just never know with him. So it's going to be a lot of stressful times.
Yeah, you see that right there. LeBron missing the postseason. First 2 years in the league as a Cavalier, and then 2 of the last few years here in L.A. When you listen to LeBron, the focus is there, the seriousness is there. We've seen that throughout his career. What are his expectations of his teammates, you think, here in the final 23?
Maybe like Mark said, to go 23-0. I mean, he really needs his team to start winning. And here's what happened. This is what happens to all the greats, maybe the top 10, 20 guys of all time. When they get towards the end of their career, and we saw this with Kobe too, what do they want more than anything else? When they have so many things, scoring titles and MVP awards. LeBron's a leading all-time scorer ever. He wants more titles. He's got 4, which is great for most people, not for LeBron. He wants to get up there with a guy like Kobe, who had 5, MJ had 6. if he can get past that, I'm sure he'd be happy. But he wants to win probably at least 2 more just to be up there with those guys. And right now, they got some work to do.
Yeah, Gator, what LeBron expects from his teammates, obviously he wants them to help them get W's, but it's also, let's make life easier for LeBron so he doesn't have to carry the workload, get those minutes down, but also his on-court responsibilities. Let's not get it twisted. LeBron James is the leader of the team. He's going to be a focal point, but if there's ways that they can shave off, his scoring responsibilities, his playmaking responsibilities, his defensive responsibilities, all those things are going to make life easier for him, and it's going to have a trickle-down effect that's probably going to lead to more W's.
All right, guys, I want to show you this. Let's take a look at the Lakers' remaining strength of schedule, and you'll see a couple of teams in here that the Lakers are actually chasing as well. The Mavericks, out of the 22 games remaining, have the easiest schedule. The Lakers have the 6th. Look at the Thunder. They're chasing OKC and the Pelicans. They also have easy schedules. But let's be real, guys. There's not that many easy games out there in the NBA, especially when people are trying to win. People are jockeying for position. So bottom line is, no matter who you play, you got to try to get the W. Brez, the Lakers are 2-1 since the trade. Do they have enough to get into the playoffs?
If they want to get directly to a top 6, that's going to be hard. Because right now, Dallas is there, and they added Kyrie. Dallas is 2 games over 500 right now. They haven't been playing great since they added Kyrie. Kyrie and Luka and Christian Wood, they all need to figure that out. So if the Lakers want to get guaranteed top 6, they're going to have to go like, I don't want to say 18-5, but probably at least 17-6, or that 16-7 I was referring to earlier. That's a lot to ask. So many new pieces. They added 6 guys in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline. That's almost half the roster, guys. That is a lot to ask. I think they're in the play-in tournament, but getting a top 6 spot, that's going to be really hard.
Do they have enough to make a run if they do get in?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But again, it's a lot of new faces. Darvin Ham was great today. He was asked, you're going to keep the starting lineup? He's, I'm done with lineup changes for a while.
Yeah.
So in that sense, there is some continuity with the 3 new guys. I think they'll be joining AD and LeBron for the foreseeable future. So that's, at least you have that. But you got the next 7 games are all teams directly ahead of them in the West. They have to do well in this 7-game stretch.
So Mark, I'm going to ask you a specific question. Do they have enough time to get the most out of this group?
To not get the most out of it, but enough to get to where they need to be, which is the playoffs. To build off of Brez's point about rotations, Darvin Ham also said he's not going to be experimenting with lineups big or small for that much of a time. So I would say after a few games, the rotation's going to be what it is. But I think that they have enough headway to get in as a 7th, 8th seed. I think, assuming health's not an issue, they'll win the playing game. But then the challenging part is, well, who do you face in the first round? It's probably the Denver Nuggets, presuming the Phoenix Suns because of Kevin Durant. And that's going to be a tough playoff matchup. Those teams may not want to face the Lakers in the playoffs because it'd be competitive. But when you think, okay, could the Lakers beat them 4 times in the playoff series? That's probably a heavy ask because of the personnel here. But for the short-term goals, they certainly have enough time and enough talent to make the playoffs through play-in.
Say they get in. Are you intrigued how far they can go?
I'm intrigued, but honestly, I think their ceiling's first round. Don't get it twisted. I think they can make it a competitive first-round series, but it's almost the equivalent of what the Portland Trail Blazers are like when Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum shared the backcourt. No teams wanted to face them. They're always due for a really good night. At the end of the day, they would lose the series 5-6 games. So that's probably what's going to happen with the Lakers.
All right, guys. Darvin has some high, lofty goals as well in February. I love the confidence. I don't know what we're talking about here, but one of the biggest keys the Lakers making a playoff push is going to be their star, Anthony Davis. And in February, here's how Davis has performed. 23 points per game, 49% from the field, 14 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. The NBA All-Star break allowed Davis to get refreshed and refocused for the task at hand.
Good chance for your body to recover physically, let you recover mentally, get away from the game for a little bit. Come back, with a new sense of urgency, a new sense of spirit for the last 23 games. Not just for me, for our team. Obviously with everything that was going on with our team, to kind of get away from just basketball and the organization and everything, just kind of, come back with a reset. Like I said, we had a great practice today. Guys was eager, guys was ready. We was ready to go tomorrow.
Man, AD has been priceless. You can't put a value on him in terms of what he's brought this year, in terms of communicating with the younger players, communicating with the coaching staff, giving suggestions, allowing himself to be coached. He did the same with all of our bigs, with Damian Jones, Thomas Bryant, Wenyen. Now we have Mo. Like he's even the guards, even just in terms of what can help us defensively and what he needs from them. So he's been like an extra coach around, having an extra coach around, and a guy that's out there in the midst of it. You know, his voice carries a lot of weight.
All right, rest for AD. That's a good thing, right? His availability to the key is key to the final stretch here. Do you agree with that?
I do. I mean, either AD or LeBron, you have to have these two guys. You just do. And again, D'Angelo Russell, he's a number three. You know, I wouldn't say he's part of the big three. It's the big two, and then who else? So if one of those guys goes down for a stretch, D'Angelo could help fill that gap for a while, like he did in Minnesota when Towns was lost for a couple months. I mean, Towns, is there any talk about Towns? No one even knows when he's coming back. But that guy right there, need him to stay healthy, obviously. I always go back to the one stat that to me is the most important for the Lakers over the last 5 years. In the bubble season, AD missed only 9 games.
Wow.
So that right there, I think LeBron missed 5 or so that year. So with those two guys, when they are healthy, they are obviously championship caliber. Got to keep those two guys in the court. No doubt about it.
Yeah, so there's a fascinating and a frightening thing in regards to this question. The fascinating thing is when Anthony Davis has been on the court, he's been absolutely dominant this season. I think he's been one of the best players in the NBA. The problem is we don't know how durable he can be. And it can really happen on any given notice. So right now, AD's talking about he's refreshed from All-Star Weekend physically, mentally. He's recovered from his previous injuries. But all it takes is just one bad slip or, you know, an elbow or something to throw it all out of whack.
Do you guys think he needs to be the AD that he was earlier in the season when everyone was calling him an MVP candidate, a top 5 player again? Do you think he needs to be that AD for them to get in the playoffs?
Maybe not, because the roster around him is better than it was when he was having that unbelievable run. You know, when you had guys like D'Angelo and Jared Vanderbilt, I mean, how impressive has he been? And a guy like Malik Beasley, who can get really hot from behind three-point range. You know, the roster's better. There's less pressure, actually, on court on AD and LeBron. So if they can just get out there for the next 23 games, I don't see how they miss the play-in tournament. Because, again, there's been so many upgrades around them just in the last few weeks.
Yeah, less of a burden offensively because of the shooting, but defensively, I think AD still has got to be that guy. Because, look, the guards they have, they're not considered elite defenders. So that point of attack could still be a weakness. So it's about AD and Mo Bamba and Jared Vanderbilt really being able to put up that wall in the interior to try to get stops and then get on the open floor.
All right, the Lakers' first game after the All-Star break is going to be on Thursday against the Warriors. You can join us for pregame at 6 o'clock. The game is on TNT at 7, so that means you switch back here after the game